Hi guys, it is 50 degrees in Michigan and the sun is shining and it feels like spring is coming and I'm super excited about that. And Rocco is also very excited. He doesn't look like it, but he is. I believe many good things happen when you recognize that someone else's drinking has negatively affected you. So for me, I spent my entire life until I was 26 believing that my mom not drinking was the key to my happiness. I believed that all of the pain and suffering and everything that prevented my mom, my dad, and my sister and I from being happy was if my mom stopped drinking. And so naturally, connecting my mom not drinking to happiness, I was obsessed with it. So I did everything that I could to hold our lives together. I was my mom's mom in many, many ways. I did everything that I could do to keep this life together because I believed I had so much hope and it was my duty to save my mom from the grips of addiction. And I just always believed that it was going to happen, and so I needed to just continue to do what I was doing because it was going to happen one day. And then I turned 26 and that was it. I was so depressed because I spent a quarter of a century believing that I could save my mom from addiction. And at that point, in total desperation, I went to an Al-Anon meeting. I went and read books about alcoholism and addiction, and most importantly, the effects of on the people who love those or around those who are suffering from addiction. And finally, and I really was there looking for a solution still, I finally recognized that I was so ill myself. One, you realize that you are normal. So I spent my entire life believing or feeling that I was not normal. The only alcoholics or addicts I had ever heard anyone talk about, or I had seen in media and TV and movies, or with my own eyes, were homeless people with paper bag covered bottles who didn't want help, who had all kinds of problems. I thought that those were the only alcoholics and addicts that existed in the world. And so I believed that what was going on in our little bungalow in Dearborn, Michigan, with my mom and this life that we painted to be very different than it actually was so unique to us. I believed I was the only girl in the world with a mom who drank too much and became an entirely unrecognizable person when she did. So when I got educated and I realized that I was an adult child of an alcoholic, like millions of people in the United States and around the world, it was such a relief. I felt normal. And I realized through all this education and talking to other ACOAs in which they shared versions of my story, I recognized that I had a completely normal response to the world around me. All of that confusion and hurt and shame was totally normal. And all of my anxiety and issues that I had, were totally normal response to what was going on in that environment. And that freed me to identify opportunities to work on the challenges that I had. It felt so good to be normal. I finally felt that sense of normalcy that I had craved at a burning level my whole life. And perhaps most meaningful, you recognize that your only job in life is to take good care of yourself. That's it. So I spent my whole life caring for my mom, my dad, and my sister. I didn't know how to take good care of myself because that's all I'd ever known. I was doing everything. I was emotional support. I was financial support. In every way possible, I was taking care of my family. So how could I have possibly ever learned how to take care of myself or recognize the fact that my only job, in fact, was to just make sure that I was healthy and safe. That seems so basic, but in that environment, growing up that way, I never learned to do that. And so having this responsibility very clearly defined, it makes decision making so much easier, and this path for creating a better grown-up life so much clearer. It helped me say, okay, I got dealt some bad cards, like millions. You're not alone in this. Okay, now what are you going to do about it? So 3, you recognize that all the crap that you battle inside every day is directly or indirectly because of what you experienced when you were growing up. And I have met many people, other ACOAs even, who say they don't want to focus or think about the past or spend time tying their issues to what happened in the past. That's all rear view mirror stuff, and that they just want to focus. But for me personally, I couldn't move forward in developing my life or my action plan if I didn't recognize that many of the challenges I wake up with every day were part of that life that I had. And I recognized actually that many of the challenges that I have, anxiety, some symptoms of PTSD, are very much what my mother battles. And my mother is also an adult child of an alcoholic. And in recognizing the similarities in our challenges, that actually helped my relationship with my mother. But this also helped me identify all of my challenges so that I could create an action plan to free myself of all of that crap. And without recognizing and understanding the source, I don't know that I could have done that. So for me personally, that piece has been very important. It has really illuminated the path to get rid of all this crap. So I truly believe that life changes in a very good way when you recognize that you are an adult child of an alcoholic. It illuminates this path for you to create something better, something different, the life that you deserve, the life that you dreamed about when you were a kid. You have the power to do it. I hope that you are well in your journey.